This one's gonna wear me out. It's gonna be the death of me. Don't yell. Don't yell. I'm gonna end up yelling. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die just from doing this. I'm not. It's fine. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, I don't make real angry videos too often, but I think this is certainly going to be one of them. But welcome, nonetheless. So today, we're talking about somebody I haven't talked about in a really long time. I, for some reason, subscribed to Classically Abby a while back because I really enjoyed making videos about her content because, to be honest, I found it quite stupid. Abby is, if you don't know, the sister of Ben Shapiro. I'm not a very feminine classic person, as you probably already know. And if you don't know, then you're new here, and in which case... So I enjoyed watching her content because I was genuinely interested in that sort of perspective, you know. And she certainly has a lot of takes that I don't agree with at all, like most of them. But I thought, you know what? I'm interested in this classic lifestyle and why it's so important to her. Her priorities lie in how things look and the concept of femininity. Now it's motherhood and really anything that makes up a stereotypical woman from the 1950s. Today, I wanted to talk about a video that Abby had made last week, and I didn't watch it until this morning because I knew it would fill me with rage, and it did. The video is called Classically Abby Reacts, Ulta Sells Out Women, Promotes Grown Men Appropriating Girlhood, with a photo of Dylan Mulvaney in the thumbnail. If you are not a TikTok person and you don't know who Dylan Mulvaney is, Dylan is a trans woman who is documenting her process of transition on TikTok. It was daily for a while, and now it's sort of, it seems like a few times a week. And Dylan is just someone who has the most beautiful spirit and the most lovable, sweet personality.
Hi, I'm Dylan Mulvaney. It is day 83 of being a girl. My zodiac sign, I'm a Capricorn.
And is documenting a process that I can't even imagine how personal and vulnerable it must feel to document. You know, and nobody's twisting her arm, you know, nobody's making her document it. And that makes it even more empowering and beautiful that she's continuing to document this process. And so this video is literally in reaction to Dylan just simply existing as a trans woman. I do want to give a huge trigger warning on this video to any of my trans non-binary friends. This video is going to be triggering. She is going to misgender the hell out of Dylan. It's out and out transphobic, like 1000%. And I would much rather you prioritize your mental health than subject yourself to this nonsense. Just know that I think you're beautiful and you are valid, and everything you are is valid and beautiful, and I love you, and take care of yourself and go watch something that makes you feel good, and don't surround yourself with people like this who only talk about these things to make you feel bad. I have a lot of things to say about this. We're gonna watch the video together and we're gonna get angry. I'm gonna get angry. If you feel angry, you can do what I did and donate to the National Center for Transgender Equality. I have put a link in the description below. The profits go to help fund resources for trans folks and creating a safe, healthy environment for trans folks, because obviously they need it. Anyway, let's get into this video. We'll get angry. Check out the links in the description. Like, subscribe, all that shit. Deep breath. and let's do it.
And welcome to another episode of Classically Abby Reacts.
Wow. Welcome to another episode of Fat Sajak Reacts to Classically Abby Reacts. Something about her diction drives me insane. Like I said, I subscribed because I actually was interested in her perspective, but I can only take her in very small doses, tiny, because that diction, and she sings opera, just screams religious zealot.
Today, I want to share my thoughts on a recently viral clip from Ulta's new podcast.
I bet you can't infer by Abby's diction and cadence how she feels about this clip from Ulta.
Now, if you don't know what Ulta is kind of like the competitor to Sephora, and they were not mixed up in the political sphere until more recently. Sephora was canceled by conservatives when they canceled an influencer who was conservative. I actually had that influencer on my channel. Her name is Amanda Ensing.
First of all, conservatives did not cancel Sephora, honey. Y'all just stopped going there. Sephora is doing just fine. Second of all, Amanda Ensing was dropped by Sephora because she was promoting not only dangerous misinformation, but also she was tweeting in support of the January 6th insurrection, which is absolutely dangerous. It's not really a political stance to say, hey, we don't really want to align ourselves with people who think violence on the Capitol is really an okay time. I don't think it's particularly political to say that, hey, we don't really want to align ourselves with someone who is spreading rampant misinformation. Like the idea that old Esther was just absolutely persecuted for her choices, for her political beliefs, for standing up for what she believes in is such bullshit. I covered this back when it happened. I think the most infuriating thing that Esther has been doing over the past few months is the racism, the homophobia, the white supremacy that goes along with that, the blackfishing, the support of an insurrection with no prayers for the lives lost, including the 2 officers who have since taken their own lives. You know, all the DVD bonus features that are on the I supported Donald Trump DVD. You couldn't even cancel a SiriusXM membership.
But I had been shopping at Ulta happily, enjoying that I still had one store to go to that wasn't this insane.
That's right, because the only places that do sell makeup are the politically motivated Ulta and Sephora. Like, Target doesn't sell makeup, Walmart doesn't sell makeup, Walgreens doesn't sell makeup. There is nowhere else. Even online, like directly from the brands, you can't do that. Did you know that? The corrupt left. Am I right?
And yet, Ulta knew they couldn't just leave well enough alone.
Ulta wanted to be inclusive to all people. You know, kind of like how, I know some religions are often like, love all people, you know? It's kind of weird how, like, religious folks are, like, I mean, like, not everybody who has belief or faith, but like these real hardcore religious folks are like the ones who are like,
oh, I know Jeffrey Dahmer's in heaven because he said he's sorry and he's repenting before he died.
And then we'll be like, trans people are the devil. Make it make sense, literally.
So what they decided to do was on their podcast, The Beauty of ... They had 2 biological men,
trans women, go on,
talking about the beauty of girlhood. Now, Dylan Mulvaney, who is a TikTok star at this point, 9 million followers, has been showing his transition from not man to woman, but from man to girl.
Her transition, thank you. Abby's about to make a really big implication here, and I want you to pay real close attention to the implication that she's making, because I think it's a really important thing to talk about, and we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, let's quickly address that. That's upsetting that we are not having men transition to being full-blown women. Now, that in and of itself is insane, but now we have men transitioning to youth, which is scary from a pedophilic perspective.
What? Scary from a pedophilic perspective. The only one placing anything pedophilic or inappropriate or insane on any of this are conservatives. Okay? Stay with me. Dylan's transition, and this is how I understand it from how she's explained it, she uses the term girlhood, which first of all, even if I wasn't about to say what I'm about to say, the use of the word girlhood versus womanhood, those are interchangeable terms. She's not off like joining a Girl Scout troop and having sleepovers with children. Then, and only then, would I be like, oh yeah, that's fucking weird. That's not what's happening. Dylan is using the term girlhood. And the way that I've perceived this is because it seems like she's spent her entire life in a gender limbo, trying to figure out her true gender identity, right? And when you make that transition as an adult, and this is just from a cis point of view, the way I see it is like, if you're making that transition as an adult, right, you didn't have the advantage of seeing things as your true authentic self as a child. Now, I'm not saying that means that Dylan is off doing child things, because this is a transition. So she's transitioning to girlhood. The disrespect of not using her pronouns, to even have like a modicum of respect for another person. God's judging you, babe. God's judging you.
That we are allowing men to call themselves girls and then allowing those people to then hang out with children? Is that the next step? Is that the next logical step?
Yes. Yes, that's the next logical step, because all trans women who refer to themselves as girls, definitely they're required to become babysitters full-time. So, yeah, heads up. The ignorance of this is so dumbfounding and disgusting. It makes me angry. I'd be more concerned about the incest potential in your family than I would ever be about a trans woman just living her fucking life, okay?
But getting that out of the way, we're talking about the beauty of girlhood with two biological men.
Getting that out of the way, honey, it seems like you want to have a whole conversation about it. Tell me again how trans women are pedophiles because you don't understand how trans women exist. Tell me about how trans women are a danger to people, to children, when trans women, particularly black trans women, are 4 times more likely to be murdered than anyone else. Did you know that it's harmful, misinformed, accusatory rhetoric like this that puts trans men, trans women, non-binary folks, anyone who has any sort of fluidity in that area, it puts them on a chopping block at risk for literally having their lives taken from them because you don't simply understand how fucking being transgender works? Because you're too afraid? Because it scares you?
And so Dylan Mulvaney is a trans girl.
Yes, Dylan Mulvaney is a trans girl, is a trans woman. Go on.
And he prances around in this appropriation of femininity.
There's no such thing as appropriating femininity. Also, to this person in the comments who said, imagine a white person putting on blackface and sitting down to talk on camera about what it means to be a black person. That's effectively what's happening here with gender. You have a guy putting on girl face and talking about what it means to be a girl. The first thing I mentioned would be deemed horribly offensive, rightly so, but the second thing is okay for some reason. Okay, Injeffable, let me tell you why that's not okay. Because blackface was used for a long time to humiliate, mock, and oppress black people. That's why it's outrageously offensive. This isn't appropriating womanhood or girlhood or femininity. This is someone who has discovered who they are, their gender identity, their authentic self, and is transitioning into that self to make the outside match the inside, to give them a life that they love. Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage about breast reductions? Where's the outrage about breast reductions? Isn't that taking away a woman's femininity according to your calculations? Oh, you people are exhausting.
Which is really offensive.
Why? Why is it offensive? Why is someone appropriating femininity offensive to you? Better yet, let's make a more specific question. How on God's green earth does it even affect you? Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
And acts as though he knows what being a woman is, what being a girl is.
Actually, Dylan's journey is about learning about girlhood and womanhood. It's about her first time experiences with things that women face. It opens up a lens of things that we as cis women have known forever, and some things that we have glossed over and ignored or not noticed or not realized were as big of a part of being a woman as they are. It's actually almost like her discovery of what it is to be a woman is helpful to other women and empowering to other women. Crazy.
Rather, by showing really stereotypical versions of femininity on his TikTok.
Your whole channel is a stereotypical version of femininity, babe. The whole thing, this whole 50s housewife thing, while I don't judge it, I think it's great. You do whatever you gotta do. It's not up to me to decide how you live. It's not up to me to decide how you be a woman, right? I'm not here to judge you for the choices you make for yourself, for your child, for your husband, for your household. That's not up to me, right? You do what you gotta do for your life, and that's fine. I got no qualms about that. Until it starts hurting other people. Because the standards you set for yourself and your friends and your family, your kids, your husband, that's on you, right? I can't, nobody can control what goes on in your house. But once you start taking that outside of your house and judging other people by the standards that you've set for yourself, especially in terms of things like femininity, you have the potential to hurt people. And if you're hurting people, then I have a problem. Then I have an issue. Because literally your entire channel is built around this idea of classic, of being modest, of being all of these things that were very important to women in the 1950s. And that's cool, fine, that's wonderful. And honestly, in a modern world where that doesn't always fit, it doesn't always apply, that people could say the same thing about you. That everything you do is a stereotypical feminine move. Everything you enjoy and you cultivate for yourself in your home is stereotypical. That one you might want to practice in the mirror a few times.
So we're gonna watch this clip today from Ulta's podcast where Dylan talks about the beauty of girlhood. I'm a little late to the party on this, but I still think I have something to share, so.
Yeah, you're also a little late to the party on just being an accepting person instead of being an ignorant bitch.
Let's watch this clip.
Now I know I can find love. I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day. And I absolutely can. And that's why the narrative still has a long way to go, because when I was grieving boy Dylan, I didn't know those things were even accessible to me.
As a mom, as a woman, aren't we all just exhausted of men telling us how to be women?
As a mom, as a woman, yeah, I am. But more so, I'm tired of men telling me what I can and can't do with my body. right? Because if, God forbid, you or I ever got knocked up again, and the pregnancy was not viable, it had to be terminated to save my life, I'd like that option. I know you probably wouldn't, and that's okay too. If you're willing to die for the clump of cells in your uterus, that's totally fine. That's on you. Again, not hurting anybody else except for yourself, so doesn't bother me. Yeah, I'm more concerned with things like that. Also, Dylan, not a man. That's a woman. That's a trans woman. Dylan is a woman. And no matter how many times you use the he, him pronouns, and no matter how many times you use air quotes, it's not going to change. She's not going to not be a trans person. She's not going to not be a woman. There's no man there telling you how to live your life. In fact, Dylan was specifically speaking to her experience.
Like, that they can do it better than we can. That they can talk on the beauty of womanhood better than actual women.
Again, Dylan is an actual woman. Also, what are you so threatened by? Because here's how I see it. Someone else who makes YouTube videos doesn't mean that I don't also make YouTube videos, right? I don't have to feel threatened because someone else exists who has similar interests, a similar gender, a similar lifestyle. I don't have to be defensive because that person simply exists. Dylan Mulvaney and any trans person that exists on this planet, particularly trans women, none of them invalidate the fact that you are a woman. None of them. You still get to be a woman. You still get to be a mom. You still get to do all the feminine things that you love so much. And you know what? No one is stopping you. No one. No one. There are no roadblocks in your way. It is absolutely bonkers to me to think that there are people who genuinely think that just because trans people exist, that takes away from your gender and your representation. What about inclusion? What about loving everybody? What about being a kind human? What about taking care of our fellow people? What about just, instead of getting angry and pushing back against the things we don't understand, what if instead we just tried to understand?
That a man is saying he can be a mother. He absolutely can. He cannot.
She can. She can adopt maybe one of those babies that is that slightly darker shade that y'all throw away at the border. Maybe she'll have a surrogate. Maybe she'll marry into a family that already has children and she'll be a stepmom. She can absolutely be a mother. And the fact that you have a under 1-year-old baby and you think you are the authority on motherhood just because you were raised conservative and your brother thinks you're hot doesn't give you the right to treat other people like this. That's absolutely abhorrent. What does this give you? Does this give you a serotonin boost to talk about trans people like this? Does it give you a little boost in your little happy part of your brain? Oh, I made someone feel like shit. Oh, I feel so excited. I'm a woman. Because see, my idea of womanhood is not tearing other women down, lifting them up, supporting them, even if it's in something I don't quite understand.
He cannot. Men cannot be mothers. And it's disgusting that people even entertain that idea.
You're right. Men can't be mothers, but trans women can.
Women are uniquely fit for that role. It is our God-given right.
And for those of us that don't believe in God, honey?
Biological right. It is what we are made for. Yes, there are women who struggle with infertility, but the fact that they even struggle with that infertility is part of womanhood. Like, the fact that there are women who struggle to conceive is not an argument against the fact that women are mothers.
Okay, how about women who are child-free by choice? Are they less valid because they don't want to be mothers? Are they less valid for making a choice that suits their life? If they know that I don't want children, I don't think I'd be a good parent, whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. They choose to be child-free. Are they less valid? Are they less of a woman because they're not using their God-given right to have babies? I find it really interesting that the narrative here is that you don't want a man, which these are appropriate air quotes, you don't want a man who is really a trans woman to speak on motherhood or women's issues because you feel that she doesn't have the experience that you do as a woman. And yet you have judgments for women who don't live their lives the way that you do. You're going to have to pick a lane.
To those who wish us well, and those who don't can go to hell.
You're either going to not support any women or you're going to support all women. Because like the cherry picking at this point is tired.
It's actually an argument for it, that they struggle to become mothers because they are struggling with the infertility that is preventing them from it. It's interesting. I recently had someone ask me if my channel was political. And I said, it depends what you consider political. Do you consider it political to talk about obvious things like femininity is for women, that men and women are different?
Femininity is for women. Because if a man wears a dress, that's not valid. He's not a woman. He's not a man. He's not even there. He doesn't even exist anymore because he's wearing a dress. And don't even get me started on men that wear nail polish. My God, femininity is just for women. You really nailed that.
That motherhood is a wonderful thing to embrace. Do you consider those things political or do you consider them obvious?
If the opposite of political is not obvious, that's a really terrible way to frame that. Human rights shouldn't be political. No, I don't think they should. Unfortunately, we are at a place where we have no choice but to have those things be political. Because every day in America, the conservatives, the far-right conservatives, are desperately trying to take away human rights from people who are just minding their own fucking business. So yeah, it all does become political. It does become political because you're pushing back on people's existence with a narrative about it being pedophilic in nature with nothing to back that up. No statistics, no cited sources, no anecdotes, nothing. Because they're not there. So yeah, it becomes political when you're so narrow-minded that all you can see is what's right in front of you and nothing else.
If you consider them obvious, my channel isn't political. If you consider it controversial that women are women and men are men and that men cannot become women just because they take hormonal treatment or say that they want to be girls or put on dresses, then yeah, my channel is political, if that to you is controversial.
Yeah, your channel's stupid. I know that wasn't a very intelligent argument, but listen, here's the thing. Men can be men. Women can be women. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff in between that is fluid, full of people who just want the same love and acceptance that people that fall on the two extreme sides of the spectrum want. I can't fathom being this purposefully closed-minded. Like, you can't just deny the existence of trans people and then, like, metaphorically be like, men are men and women are women. Like, that's not how it works. You're never going to be able to wish away trans people. No matter how many snarky little TED Talks you give from the conservatory in your house that you paid way too much money for while your child naps in the next room, you're never going to be able to erase trans people. They're not going anywhere. They've been here long before you were. They've been here a long time and they are not going anywhere. The difference is that now, thanks to trans women with platforms, such as Dylan Mulvaney, trans people can come out. They feel empowered to come out and to feel and to be their authentic selves. Because being trans, though I'm cis, I'm a cis person, I do feel being trans comes with dysphoria. It comes with self-doubt. It comes with self-hatred. It comes with so many conflicting internal and external struggles that you could never even possibly understand, that I could never even possibly understand. And the fact that you sit here and you dismiss this like it's some fucking game of dress up and charades is absolutely abhorrent and shameful. And I hope that if your God is real, he's looking down on you with nothing but judgment. Because the fact that you live the life that you live, looking down your nose at people who are not like you, is disgusting. It's a disgusting way to live. It's closed-minded and mean and spiteful. And your comment section is largely an echo chamber of all of those same ignorant, misinformed opinions. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's not okay to put on woman face.
Content like this is ridiculous.
Yours? Yeah, I agree.
It's not acceptable.
Yours? Yeah, I agree.
We're erasing women. We're trying to say that we live in a patriarchy. Well, what is more patriarchal than men becoming women and talking on women like experts?
What's more patriarchal than men becoming women and speaking on womanhood like experts? Loss of bodily autonomy, for one. God. Oh my God, honey. I can't even with this anymore. This is exhausting. How do you live like this? And how are women being erased? You're not gone. Again, like, just because someone else exists doesn't mean you don't. You can still be all of the things you believe you are. You can still be your waspy white self when you go to brunch with the girls on Saturday. You can still parade around in dresses and have tea parties and do all the shit that you want to do, and that's perfectly fine. No one is taking that from you. Dylan Mulvaney transitioning, any trans woman transitioning, does not take away your femininity or your womanhood. But it does make you a bitch for saying so.
Like on womanhood as experts. I don't believe that we live in a patriarchy. I don't believe that women are victims.
Okay, well, this isn't a religion, so whether you believe it or not, it's still true.
But I do believe that women are victims of this current narrative that says that men can become women. They can't.
You're gonna need to find a way to cope, and you need to stop speaking about trans people. Like 6 days ago. You need to stop, because your rhetoric is putting people in danger. Very real danger. What you believe is not always reflected in reality. And you can wish away trans people all you want, but they're not going anywhere. And neither am I. I've said it like 3 times already. I can't fathom being this closed-minded, being this ignorant, being this misinformed, and being so smug about it on top of it. Yikes on bikes, babe. That's all I really have the patience for today. Again, there's links in the description. Please, if you're feeling angry, channel that into something positive and donate below. Oh, we'll be back to the funnies next time. Thanks so much for watching. All my shit is in the description. You know where to find it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one. Bye.
Women are women, men are men. They are different. The idea of a man prancing around in the trappings of femininity as if that makes him a girl is not only disgusting, it's offensive.